GCSE English Language Paper 2 is here on Friday 6th of June, and in this video I'm going to get into a method which is going to save you loads of time. Most students aren't going to do it, but it's going to absolutely maximise your marks. Let's get into it. So for AQA, this is an hour and 45-minute paper. You've got a reading section for an hour, which is comparing two sources, and then a writing section, which is persuasive writing for 45 minutes. You want to spend about 1 minute per mark on each of these sections. Now, the first thing you're going to do is spend about 15 minutes reading and annotating the sources. I'm going to give you a method here that is going to absolutely revolutionise how you do this paper. Pay attention. Now, check question 2 before you start reading. It's going to tell you to focus on something that you're going to compare between the two sources. In this case, it's trains. Read the first source. Now, what you're looking for is any quotation that tells you anything about the focus for question 2. So anything about trains, for example. Circle those words and put a little label telling you what it tells you about the train. While you're doing this, you also want to be thinking about what the writer is feeling. Perhaps highlight this in a slightly different way, a different colour or a different technique maybe. And for this one, you want to be thinking about the techniques the writer is using to show how they feel. Reading that first source should take about 5 minutes, and then at the bottom of the source, and this is the key, bullet point 2 ideas on what the train is like and bullet point 2 ideas on how the writer feels. That should take you a couple of minutes to do the bullet point. Then all you have to do is read source 2 and do exactly the same thing. Annotate, bullet point down at the bottom, and this time look for similarities and differences. Now I know this seems like a bit of extra work, but it's going to save you masses of time when you get to the questions, trust me. So once you've got your annotations, the questions look like this. Question 1 is a very brief multiple choice question worth 4 marks. Do it as quickly as possible. Question 2 is your first comparison question. It's worth 8 marks. Now, if you still got to do the thinking behind this, it's going to take you ages. But if you followed my method, all you have to do is write up your bullet points and use quotations as proof. Quick side note, you don't need any technical analysis here. It's just wasting time. So just stick to proving things with quotations. Question 3 is your language analysis question. It's marked in exactly the same way as the language analysis question on paper 1, but this time it's worth 12 marks. So what you have to do is explain a nice specific effect, so what the writer is trying to get you to think or feel about whatever they're asking you about. Prove it with quotations, and this time make sure you're saying what methods they use to create the effect, so what similes, metaphors, types of verbs, etc. Question 4 is another comparison between the two sources, but this time it's worth 16 marks, twice as many as for question 2. You've got to talk about how the writer feels. So again, go back to your bullet points from your annotations, but this time don't just use quotations. Make sure, again, you're explaining the methods they use to create the effects. So what similes, what verbs, what metaphors, etc., all of that kind of stuff. Once you've got your 4 reading questions out of the way, you're on to question 5, persuasive writing. Now, I've got a full video on how to get maximum marks here, but very broadly, people tend to get stuck at mid-level marks because they use the same style as they did for the first 4 questions and just explain their ideas. Actually, the marks here are for your style of writing, and you've got to make it entertaining. These are the things you actually get marks for and what you should be paying attention to for question 5. First off, you've got to match your writing to the audience and purpose. So look at what you're being asked to write and write a letter or a speech rather than writing just an essay, and think about the audience you're supposed to be writing to. Structuring your work well, so spend at least 5 minutes planning out the order of your ideas before you start writing. Using ambitious vocabulary, using language devices like rhetorical questions, varying your sentence lengths and styles, varying your punctuation, and having accurate spelling and grammar. And that's it. Use this method, stick to your timings, and you're set to smash paper 2, and English will be totally done. Good luck.